Today is the feast day of Saint Agnes, today being January 21st. And when I read the story of Saint Agnes, I felt I needed to share this with y'all because it's quite relevant to a lot of things that I've discussed before, and it's quite pertinent to the current state of our degraded culture. So I'm just going to read from a couple of paragraphs from this summary of the life of Saint Agnes. This is taken from Catholic Online. I'll provide the source link. Saint Agnes of Rome was born in 291 AD, raised in a Christian family. Agnes was very beautiful and belonged to a wealthy family. Her hand in marriage was highly sought after, and she had many high-ranking men chasing after her. However, Agnes made a promise to God never to stain her purity. Her love for the Lord was great, and she hated sin even more than death. Whenever a man wished to marry Agnes, she would always say, "Jesus Christ is my only spouse." According to legend, the young men she turned away became so angry and insulted by her devotion to God and to purity that they began to submit her name to the authorities as a Christian follower. In one incident, Procop, the governor's son, became very angry when she refused him. He tried to win her for his wife with rich gifts and promises, but the beautiful young girl kept saying, "I am already promised to the Lord of the universe. He is more splendid than the sun and the stars, and he has said that he will never leave me." In great anger, Procop accused her of being a Christian and brought her to his father, the governor. The governor promised Agnes wonderful gifts if she would only deny God, but Agnes refused. He tried to change her mind by putting her in chains, but her lovely face shone with joy. Next, he sent her to a place of sin, but an angel protected her. At last, she was condemned to death. Even the pagans cried to see such a young and beautiful girl going to death. Yet Agnes was happy as a bride on her wedding day. She did not pay attention to those who begged her to save herself. "I would offend my spouse," she said, "if I were to try to please you. He chose me first, and he shall have me." Then she prayed and bowed her head for the death stroke of the sword. And there are other stories, accounts of what might have happened with the martyrdom of Saint Agnes. But I'll skip over. It's all interesting, but I want to get to the meat of this story here. She died a virgin martyr at the age of 12 or 13 on January 21st, 304. Very young, but of course back then, girls were married off commonly when they were of the age where they could bear children. So it wasn't so unusual for pre-Christian Rome, but still it's a very shocking story. And what really grabbed me about it is in the person of Saint Agnes, we see the spectacle of outraged innocence. We see the spectacle of predation against the innocent, which is so common in our day. Saint Agnes is widely known as the patron saint of young girls. She is also the patron saint of chastity, rape survivors, and the children of Mary. She's often represented with a lamb, the symbol of her virgin innocence. And a palm branch, like other martyrs. So I find this to be a very powerful story. full disclosure, I have a daughter myself, but I don't think this just applies, even though she's the patron saint of young girls, and I want to expand this story, the relevance of this story, and really talk about how it relates to the kind of things that we see happening today, whether on an official basis or an unofficial basis, whether it's with corruption in the church, whether it's the filth that run the entertainment industry and the things that they do to children, and so many other things that we hear about, stories that I've covered here as well. The Franklin scandal, what was known as Pizzagate. So many other things. The Finders. It seems to be, even though it's not, a lot of these things aren't officially admitted to, but you scratch the surface of the official story and you see pretty clearly what's going on. Ours is an age of outraged innocence. Ours is an age of, all too commonly, innocents being targeted, innocent lives being targeted because of the lust and the predation of the powerful. And maybe it's always been so. Maybe it's naive of me to think that this applies particularly to our own day. But I would say that we live at a time where scandals like these, you just you don't have to look far to find out about stories that are, they're the St. Agnes prototype is all too common, and this is due to the fact that, just like in the story of St. Agnes, we have a corrupt elite that believe themselves to be above the law, that believe that if they want something, they're entitled to it, and because there has been such a ridiculing, generally speaking, of the virtue of chastity, generally speaking. So corruption of the youth is just sort of winked at, and again, there are so many ways in which the story of St. Agnes, Blessed St. Agnes, is relevant. Now, she faced off against the elites of her own time, the corrupt, depraved elites of her own time, who were blinded by their lust, who saw a beautiful young girl and just wanted her sexually, wanted to violate her, wanted to predate upon her, rather than appreciating her beauty in a pure, godly sense. And again, it doesn't just apply to girls, it applies to boys, it applies to innocence everywhere. So I wanted to just draw attention to the fact that this is the feast day of St. Agnes, and how significant St. Agnes is to our own times and to our own culture. And just wanted to say, Blessed St. Agnes, pray for our children.